Chelsea failed to win for the first time this season as they are held to a 0-0 draw away at West Ham. Subpar performances from especially the attacking players, but still enough chances created to win the game, but lacking the clinical edge, while West Ham themselves also had chances to win the game. To find out everything about the game as it happened, my thoughts on the performance as a whole, and the individual players including especially Eden Hazard, make sure you watch this review until the end. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my review of the West Ham 0, Chelsea 0 game. And well, it was basically the tricky game that I told you was going to be, but unlike the last few games this season, unlike all of the games this season so far, we couldn't find a way through and didn't manage to win the game as our poor run of form of results basically at the London Stadium continues. Of course, this is the review. There should be fan cams out later on as well, although there's always some issues around the London Stadiums with that, so we'll have to wait and see what is possible. But of course, we do aim to get those out to you, and there will be a vlog as well, so if you don't want to miss out on that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already. But getting straight into the review and starting it off with the lineup, and it was exactly like I predicted, with Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, the two fullbacks being Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso, two centre-backs being Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz, a midfield three of Jorginho, N'Golo Kanté and Mateo Kovacic, who did recover in time, obviously after getting injured against Cardiff last week, and then a front three of Eden Hazard on the left, Willian on the right and Olivier Giroud starting up front. Notably, Pedro didn't make the squad after picking up the injury at PAOK on Thursday, and the only real surprise in the squad was Cahill making the bench ahead of Andreas Christensen, possibly just because Christensen will start against Liverpool on Wednesday, although, probably Cahill as well. We'll have to wait and see. And on the other side for West Ham, Arnautovic didn't even make the bench for the home side, so, at the time, that filled me with a lot of confidence, but obviously it turned out to be, well, maybe we would have lost if Arnautovic played, but, we didn't win either way. And the start of the game was pretty much as you would expect, Chelsea dominating possession, forcing West Ham into their own third and trying to create chances, but West Ham defended that well early on, and when they got the ball under the new coach Pellegrini, they also tried to attack and go forward. From a corner inside the first 10 minutes, we created our first real chance, and as Willian found Giroud completely unmarked inside the box, but the Frenchman mishit this volley on his weaker right foot and made it an easy save for the keeper. Should really have done better there. That looked like much less of a chance than it actually was because he hit it so badly. Like, he should have done better there. Giroud knew it as well. Like, you could see it on the expression on his face. He knew he should have done better. Only a few minutes later, a very good passing move created a decent opportunity for Hazard, but he had to shoot while under pressure from a defender and also from a rather tricky angle, and ended up making his shot a fairly easy save for the keeper Fabianski. Well, after the first 10 minutes, we basically locked West Ham inside their own half by keeping the ball well, and whenever we did lose it, with great pressing, basically won it back immediately. We did all of that really well. We struggled to create real chances after the first 10 minutes, after those two chances for Hazard and Giroud, really. But that was also down to West Ham just defending very deep, but also well. Jorginho then played an absolute beauty of a chip pass from, say, 20-25 yards from goal over the defence to Olivier Giroud, who tried to take it on the volley, but basically missed the ball completely, and it just fell into the keeper's arms. A stunning pass by Giroud, by Jorginho, of course. And then you hear some people saying Jorginho doesn't pass the ball forwards. He again today broke some records, but if you don't win the game, you don't really want to break passing stat records, because I can't remember what the number was. I think 180 touches he had, or it was a bit crazy, or attempted passes or whatever it was. So it is crazy, but if you don't win the game, there's not much help to that. And as much as I just praised him there, exactly on the half an hour mark, Jorginho misplaced a fairly easy pass as a whole team except the two centre backs were pushed forward, and West Ham won the ball and attacked quickly through Yarmolenko, getting into the box. David Luiz actually defending quite well there, but the ball somehow still ended up with Mikel Antonio just at the edge of the 6-yard box, maybe inside the 6-yard box, who took the shot first time basically straight away, but Kepa Arrizabalaga pulled off a stunning save to keep that shot, that was going into the near corner from, point blank range, like I said, to keep that out. Yes, you could say, just kept this near post safe, which is what a keeper always should do, but it wasn't just like he was shot at, he had to stretch his foot, or was it his knee, whatever. He made a very good save there, in my opinion. And overall in the first half, in the whole game while he was on, to be honest, Giroud seemed to struggle a little bit with holding on to those passes down the middle towards him. Either lost them after his first touch or was even second to the ball and didn't even get a touch to it. Mostly down to West Ham being very close to him, obviously knowing what we're trying to do. But that of course made it difficult overall for us to keep the ball once we got within 20 or 25 yards of the opposition's goal. And after that chance for West Ham with around half an hour played, it took us quite a while. It took both teams quite a while to create another chance, and that was until the last minute of the first half actually, as Hazard played a nice switch ball to Willian on the far right, in the far right corner of the box basically, who first time crossed it back into the middle where N'Golo Kanté did make a good run, got his head just about onto the cross, but put his effort just wide of the post, and that was then basically half time. Obviously at 0-0, and it wasn't a great first half. Created a few decent chances, most notably that Giroud chance, the Giroud volley early on from the Willian corner. But other than that, nothing clear cuts. And like I said earlier, the main issue was Giroud struggling with so many West Ham players on him the second a pass, was played in his direction. Which of course you should know we try to do to then get Hazard into good positions. But if we can't find Giroud, then that plan obviously doesn't work. But I also thought generally that Hazard was way too far away from Giroud for that to work in the first place. So even if Giroud got to more passes and did manage to lay off more of them, they would have never found Hazard. You barely ever at least. So, there was something not really right in that, first half. In the whole game, in all honesty. But maybe it was down to instructions from Sarri for Hazard to stick to to his wing more than he did in the last few games. But still, I found it a bit odd. And another issue in the whole game and also the first half was that when we did end up crossing the ball, because West Ham crowded the central areas of the pitch a lot, the crosses were just quite poor, especially from Azpilicueta, but also from Alonso. They were just quite poor, and more often than not ended with West Ham regaining possession rather than us finding a chance to score. And, West Ham had the bigger chance in the first half, let's be honest, but other than that, never really threatened us. And coming into the second half, it was very similar, to the end of the first half. Chelsea with the ball, most of the ball, trying to create. West Ham sitting deep and defending well, but most importantly, winning more duels than also Sarri will be happy with, as we lost a big 62.5% of all duels in the first half, which is way too much. You can't lose that many duels. Although I just said it was very similar at the start of the second half, West Ham did seem a bit more adventurous early in the second half than they did in the first, which I at least hoped would lead to us, finding more space here and there, which should then have made it easier for us to create and score. But, it didn't really. Olivier Giroud then was replaced by Alvaro Morata in the 65th minute, and just moments after the substitution, a great ball by Willian around the corner to Eden Hazard, who instead of taking the shot, yes, it was a fairly tight angle, but still should have taken the shot there, tried to find Morata with a back heel, which the Spaniard didn't expect, and in my opinion, couldn't have expected at all. And, the back heel didn't find Morata, and, we lost the ball. And like I said, Hazard really should have gone for goal there. He scored from angles like that. Just rifle it into the roof of the net. That's why I think he should have tried. And only seconds later, Luis still high up the pitch, following the corner we got from, basically after West Ham cleared Hazard's back heel. Luis got to the end of another cross, letting the ball bounce to Morata, or, well, not sure if he tried to let it bounce to Morata, but he did end up bouncing to Morata, who just about got to the ball just before the keeper, went for the chip, but just didn't have enough distance between the ball and the keeper to make it work, with his chip basically hitting Fabianski right in the face. And to me, that was just unlucky for Morata. He couldn't really have done much more. He couldn't really take it around the keeper. It would have made the angle impossible and would have, had someone covering the line, because obviously West Ham's team was still, all of them were still back in their own box. So that was the only thing he could have tried. Yes, if he just about puts it past Fabianski's head, it's still in. But, you can't blame him for that. He went for the chip. It was a good effort of a chip, and it hit Fabianski in the face. Unlucky there. Still better than anything Giroud did in the whole game. And then Antonio Rudiger picked up an injury. I'm not sure what kind of injury it was, but with around 20 minutes to go, he did pick up an injury. It looked like something around on his leg, maybe his knee, which then forced Sarri to replace him with Gary Cahill, who was the only centre-back on the bench. And, I can just hope that Rudiger's injury isn't serious. There was 75 minutes gone, Hazard with a poor pass to complete his 1-2 with Morata. Had he done better there, that would have been Morata through on goal 1-on-1 with the keeper. And, that's just disappointing. Morata got on the end of a long ball, of a high ball, headed it onto Hazard, who took it on, but then just underhit this pass to Morata, who, like I said, would have been 1-on-1 with the keeper. Would he have scored or not? Different story. But, with Hazard's poor pass, Morata didn't even get the chance to try. 2 minutes after that, though, we got very lucky, as West Ham and Yarmolenko missed an absolutely huge chance, an absolute sitter, as Yarmolenko put a free header from the edge of the 6-yard box, he put it wide off the post, falling across from the left, although it was actually a clear offside position by West Ham, missed by the referees in the build-up to it, so, should never have stood, should never have happened, but it did, and, obviously very lucky for him to miss that, you really should have buried that. And after that chance, we did make our last substitution as Ross Barkley came on for Mateo Kovacic. Then Kanté had a good shooting opportunity from inside the box following a great run and pass by Willian down the left, but the Frenchman put the ball way, wide and over as well. But I never understand, though I have to mention this now, is why it's always Kanté that ends up in the box. I know he scored away at Huddersfield in the first game, but still, why is it always Kanté that ends up, there? He had that header in, late on in the first half as well. Why is it always him? Why is it never Kovacic or Barkley, who are much more likely to score, much better goal-scoring players than N'Golo Kanté is? I understand that he's playing in a much more attacking position than he, did last year and stuff, and Jorginho plays in that deep position. But that doesn't mean he should be Kante in the box, the shortest player basically we have, I think. And also he's just not that good at scoring. So why isn't it Kovacic and Barkley? Yes, I get, they have different roles, and especially when Kovacic plays, he's more down, his job is more to create and pass the ball as well. So with Kovacic, maybe I get it more. But when Barkley's on, Barkley's tall, Barkley's strong. So when we aim to cross the ball, why isn't Barkley making those runs? Why is it Kante? That made absolutely no sense to me. Like, we need to stop doing that. I don't mind Kante going out on the wing, when the winger, whether that's Pedro or Willian, comes inside. I don't mind that because Kante used to be a winger and he can be quite good at that. He's fast, he doesn't lose the ball. So I don't mind that. But him getting into the box and finding himself with chances, that's just a bit silly. Like, we need to make sure when it's not the attackers that find themselves with these chances, we need to make sure that it's Kovacic or Barkley or, Loftus-Cheek when he gets a game. We need to make sure of that. Like, we can't constantly have Kante be doing that. And then on the 90th minute, Barkley was the first one to finally take his heart into his hand and give it a go from distance. And it was a great effort as well, curling it right into the bottom right corner from well outside the box as well. But Fabianski pulled off an incredible save, absolutely incredible save to keep that one out, which was obviously extremely annoying. And only a few minutes after that, a good chance for Willian, who got to the ball maybe 5 yards or so from the touchline, could have then tried to square it to Morata, who, in the first moment when Willian got to the ball was free in the middle, but Willian did end up going for the shot, which, even though the angle was really tight, was on as the ball was bouncing, and he tried to properly rifle it into the top corner, but he really missed it and put it well wide. Like it almost bloody hit the corner flag, do you know what I mean? Like, should have, I guess, go for the goal and stuff, and, he did what Hazard failed to do earlier on, went for the goal, but not like that. Don't put it that far wide. Do you know what I mean? Like, get it on goal at least. I know it's easier said than done, of course, but, that was it for the game, and that was full time at 0-0. And it was just a very frustrating afternoon with too many subpar performances, especially from the attackers. The midfield, I thought, was actually quite good, for most of the game, especially Jorginho and Kovacic. But especially Hazard, he just wasn't good enough today. But the strangest thing to me was that Hazard looked more tired towards the end than Willian did. Even though Willian played the full 90 minutes away at PAOK on Thursday, well, Hazard didn't even make the trip. So that makes absolutely no sense. And, Hazard had those two moments, especially, in which he either made the wrong decision or played a poor pass. First, when he tried to backheel it to Morata, like I explained earlier, instead of going for goal. And then second, when he underhit a fairly easy pass to, the Spaniard, to Morata, to put him 1-1 with the keeper. And, those two moments could have been, match decisive. Hazard might well have scored from that tight angle still, when he tried to backheel it. And Morata might well have scored in the one-on-one. Like, you can't score when he doesn't get the chance, like when, his teammate doesn't find him. And so that was disappointing. I mean, I don't mean to be harsh on Hazard here. Like, it's fine that he has a bad game here and there. He was incredible in the first 5, and especially the last 3 when he started, or 4? 3 that he started. So he's been incredible, and that was the first game since the World Cup semi-final against France in which he hasn't either scored or provided an assist, in either game, in a game for either club or country. So, I don't want to be harsh on him. He's still been very good. But today, it's just the fact that he wasn't good. Like I said, for me, it was mostly the attackers that were kind of lacking today. Willian, he lacked some sharpness in the middle of the game, and it's just not as good overall as Hazard. But it was, kind of understandable that he missed some sharpness in the middle, playing the full 90 on Thursday, but actually found a second win late on and looked the most dangerous in the last the last bit of the game, basically. Obviously, I mentioned Giroud earlier, and then obviously we had that Morata chance when he chipped the ball into Fabianski's face. Although I still stand by what I said earlier, there wasn't much more he could have done. Like, there wasn't much more he could have done with when and how the ball came to him. Other than that, Morata never received the ball in any sort of decent position, although he did make good runs. So, there's not really much I can criticise Morata for, in the, 25 minutes he played today. Overall, we just didn't create enough big chances. We did have some good chances, but not many, if any, huge ones. And, with those, with the chances we did have, we just weren't clinical enough, most notably for me still, like I said at half-time, and when I explained it. Giroud's volley from Willian's corner early on, and then obviously that Willian shot in injury time as well, both should have been dealt with better, basically. At the same time, though, West Ham had 2 huge chances. That Antonio won in the first half, and, then obviously the Yarmolenko miss in the second half as well. So, arguably, even with us having more of the ball, much more of the ball, dominating the game and creating more chances, although not better chances, but more chances, with West Ham having those 2 big chances, a draw might even be the fair result today, as annoying as that is. But yeah, I mean, it is the first time this season that we have dropped points, still unbeaten. But, as Liverpool won yesterday, I think 3-0 against Southampton, they are now the sole leader 2 points ahead of ourselves and Manchester City, with obviously Liverpool coming to Stamford Bridge in the Premier League next weekend, and us going to Anfield in a Carabao Cup on Wednesday. And I really hope that Rudiger can recover from whatever injury he picked up today, because we desperately need his pace when defending against Liverpool, especially in the league next week, of course. Like, we desperately need him. Like, neither Luiz nor Christensen nor Cahill are any quick. And our fullbacks aren't quick either. Like, Aspie isn't particularly quick. Alonso, we all know, isn't particularly quick. So we really, really need Rudiger's pace to defend against Mane, Salah and Firmino, and, you know, Keita coming from deep as well. Like, we really need him. So, you know, hopefully he can make the game. But yeah, I mean, I told you in a preview on Friday, I thought we'd win, especially when Arnautovic didn't make the squad. I was confident that we would win, but I also told you that it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up, you know, if we ended up drawing the game, and that's exactly what happened. Although, won't lie, I didn't expect, you know, 0-0 draw. But yeah, that's basically it from me. Leave me all of your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Did anyone disappoint you? Did you really like anyone's performance? If so, let me know down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button down below. We'd massively appreciate that. Of course, don't forget to check out my social media, which is Louse1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here. And also the links to both of them will be down in the description below. So if you could follow me over there, I would massively appreciate that. And of course, this is YouTube. So if you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also don't forget to click the notification bell button and choose to be notified with all uploads so you don't miss any of our future videos. But I mean, frustrating afternoon, but it's upwards and onwards. Let's do better next week, and also in the Cup against Liverpool on Wednesday as well. Thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.